Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive here on the channel. Today we're going way back in time to ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
Yep, to explore the pyramids.
The pyramids. Those are fascinating.
I know, right? These massive stone structures, they've captured people's imaginations for centuries. And today, well, we're going to uncover some surprising facts about them. We might even debunk a myth or two along the way. What do you think?
Sounds fun.
Awesome. Okay, let's set the stage first.
Okay.
We're talking about ancient Egypt, specifically the Old Kingdom period.
Right.
And back then, pharaohs weren't just rulers.
No.
They were like god kings.
Wow.
And their whole culture, it revolved around this belief in the afterlife.
I see.
Which brings us to the pyramids.
Okay.
They weren't just about creating these extravagant tombs.
Yes.
It was way more than that.
What were they then?
They were seen as these elaborate gateways to the afterlife.
Oh, interesting.
Like meticulously designed to guide the pharaoh's soul on this journey to the next world.
Wow.
And let's talk about the scale of these things.
Okay.
I mean, the Great Pyramid was the tallest structure humans made for over 3,800 years.
That's a long time.
Right. It's almost impossible to even picture, you know?
It's mind-boggling to think about. Millions of stone blocks all put together perfectly, and each one weighing like 2.5 tons on average.
2.5 tons. That's insane. And for the longest time, people thought those were all put there by slaves, right?
Yeah, toiling under this brutal sun. That was the image everyone had.
Yeah, but from what we've been reading, that might not be the whole story.
You're right. Evidence is showing that a lot of them were skilled workers.
Folly.
Yeah, they were paid and even, get this, buried near the pharaoh's tombs when they died.
No way. So they were respected.
Absolutely, it seems that way.
That kind of changes how we think about ancient Egyptian society then, doesn't it?
It really does. It's not as simple as we once believed. This was a complex system.
It sounds like it. So if it wasn't all slave labor, what does that tell us about the people who actually built these pyramids?
Well, it tells us they were skilled.
Oh.
And that craftsmanship was valued.
Okay.
And they had a deep understanding of engineering.
Wow.
And their social structure, it was complex even in death.
Okay, let's zero in on the most famous one. The Great Pyramid of Giza.
All right.
I mean, it's more than just a pile of rocks, right?
Oh, for sure. Way more. The design, the layout, it's all so intricate.
In what way?
The passages, the chambers, it all shows just how advanced their architecture was.
Yeah.
It's not just about how big it is, it's about the thought behind every little detail.
Right. I was reading about something called a serdab and a Ka statue.
Yeah.
I think it was inside the Great Pyramid.
Oh, yeah. Those are fascinating. They show us a lot about their beliefs about the afterlife.
Like what?
Well, the serdab was the special chamber. It was near the pharaoh's burial chamber.
Okay.
And it held this statue, the Ka statue. It was basically a backup plan for the pharaoh's soul.
A backup?
Yeah. They believed that a part of the soul stayed with the body after death. They called it the Ka.
Oh, wow.
So if the mummy got damaged or something, the Ka could, like, move into the statue.
That's crazy.
I know. And then it could still make it to the afterlife.
Like a spiritual insurance policy.
You got it. They were so concerned about making sure the pharaoh's soul was safe for eternity.
It was that important to them.
Oh, yeah. Totally central to their beliefs. Like, their whole vision of the universe revolved around it.
Wow. So we've talked about the Great Pyramid, but there are more at Giza, right?
Yep, definitely.
What about Khafre's pyramid? It's not as tall, but it's got that famous neighbor, the Great Sphinx.
Right. And it adds this whole other layer of intrigue to the place. The Sphinx, with its lion's body and human head, it was meant to be like a guardian, protecting the whole site.
Makes sense. It's basically the symbol of ancient Egypt.
Pretty much.
Okay, what about Menkaur's pyramid?
Ah, that one's the smallest of the three, but it's got a cool story.
What happened?
So, back in the 12th century, the Sultan of Egypt, he tried to destroy it.
Really? Why?
Who knows? But he failed.
The pyramids were too strong for him.
Exactly. They were built to last, and they did. Speaking of lasting, have you ever wondered how they've been affected by all that desert weather?
Oh, yeah, for sure. They must have changed over time.
They have. You know how they look kind of sandy and weathered now?
Yeah.
Well, they weren't always like that. They used to be covered in this polished white limestone.
What?
Yeah, it reflected the sun. So imagine, like, giant sparkling jewels in the desert.
Sparkling pyramids, that's wild.
It's true. Sadly, a lot of that limestone is gone now. Eroded or sadly taken by people to use in other buildings.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a shame. Can you imagine how awesome that site must have been.
Gleaming white pyramids in the sun. That's hard to picture now.
Totally. It'd be like the Eiffel Tower without its paint, you know? Completely different.
Totally. Okay, so we've learned a lot about what's on the surface, but there might be even more going on underneath, right? Like secret tunnels.
Oh yeah, there are definitely some mysteries down there. We'll dive into those when we come back. We were talking about the pyramids sparkling in the sun before. That limestone covering must have been something else.
It's hard to imagine them looking like anything other than what we see in photos now. But before we get back to the visuals, I got to ask about something of famer. I read the Ben Bin stone. What is that?
Oh, that's interesting. It was this sacred object in ancient Egypt. Think primordial mound rising from the waters.
Like the beginning of the world.
Exactly. And some believe that the shape of the pyramids, you know, those sloping sides meeting at the top,
Yeah.
it might have been inspired by that Ben Bin stone.
So the pyramids weren't just amazing feats of engineering. They were also super symbolic.
Totally. Not just tombs, but symbols of creation, resurrection, the Pharaoh's connection to the divine, the whole thing.
Hey, got to ask about those secret tunnels now. You mentioned them earlier. Sounds kind of like an Indiana Jones movie.
Right. And there's still so much we don't know. There have been discoveries over the years, tunnels, chambers, all beneath Giza. Some are well known, like the ones under Khufu's pyramid. But rumor has it, there's a whole network down there, mostly unexplored.
Hold on. Unexplored tunnels. What could be down there? Like hidden tombs, treasures, lost secrets of the ancients just waiting to be found.
It's pretty exciting to think about, right? Some folks believe they might lead to more chambers, maybe filled with artifacts or even the tombs of other important figures. And with all the tech we have now, like ground-penetrating radar, who knows?
It's like a giant puzzle just waiting to be solved. So even after all this time studying the pyramids, they could still change our understanding of ancient Egypt.
That's what makes them so fascinating. There's always more to learn.
All right, before we get too lost in those secret tunnels, let's recap some of the crazy facts we've covered.
Okay.
That sparkling limestone was a shocker for me. But you also mentioned the temperature inside the pyramids. Stays at a constant 20 degrees Celsius. It's like they had built-in air conditioning.
It's true. Their temperature regulation was amazing. We don't know exactly how they did it, but there are theories. Maybe something to do with the type of stone they used or the ventilation systems.
So they're aligned with the stars, climate-controlled. Ancient Egyptians were way ahead of their time.
Incredibly innovative. And that's a big part of why we're still obsessed with the pyramids today. They just represent this incredible level of achievement.
We've talked a lot about the engineering and architecture, but these were built by people, right? With beliefs, with a vision of the afterlife that shaped their entire world.
Absolutely. It's easy to forget the human element when you're looking at something so grand. Think about it. Thousands of workers, artisans, architects, engineers, all working together, all to create something that would last for millennia.
That's mind-blowing. It really shows the power of human ingenuity, doesn't it? And collaboration on a massive scale.
For sure. It's a reminder that even the most amazing achievements, they all started with people, with shared dreams and goals, and this desire to leave something behind for the future.
Okay, so we've debunked myths, talked about hidden chambers, explored the ingenuity of the ancient Egyptians, but there's one more thing we have to mention. The Sound and Light show at Giza.
Ah, yes. Have you seen it?
Not yet, but it's on my list. Tell me about it.
It's truly something else. They use lights, music, narration, all to bring the history of the pyramids to life. It's pretty magical to see them lit up against the night sky.
Wow. Definitely adding that to my bucket list. But before we go, what do you think is the biggest takeaway for our listeners? Why should we, thousands of years later, still care about these structures?
That's a good question. I think they remind us of what humans are capable of, that power of belief, and how it can drive us to create amazing things. They challenge us to look beyond our own time and appreciate those who came before.
I love that. They're not just relics of the past. They're reminders of our own potential and what we can achieve when we set our minds to something.
And they push us to keep exploring, keep asking questions. That sense of wonder about the world, that's important to hold on to. Who knows what else is out there waiting to be discovered?
Absolutely. We've got to leave it there for now, but don't stop exploring the pyramids here. There are tons of resources out there, books, documentaries, you can even take virtual tours.
And if you ever get the chance to go to Egypt, seeing the pyramids in person, it's an experience you won't forget. Standing in their shadow, feeling that weight of history, there's nothing like it.
It connects you to something bigger than yourself. Well, folks, that's a wrap for our deep dive today. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey through time and wonder. We'll see you on the next one. Wow, what a journey this has been. Sparkling limestone, those secret tunnels. The pyramids really are full of mystery.
Absolutely. And it's amazing how they still fascinate us after all these years.
You know, thinking about how huge they are and all the work that went into building them. We always talk about the pharaohs and wanting to live forever, but what about the people who actually built them?
That's a great point. It's easy to forget about them. All those skilled artisans, laborers, architects, engineers, they put their lives into this project that would last for centuries.
It's thanks to their skill that we can still admire them today. It makes you wonder about their lives, what they believed in, what they hoped for. Did they ever imagine people would still be talking about their work thousands of years later?
Makes you think, doesn't it? The pyramids aren't just about pharaohs and the afterlife. They're about human creativity, working together, wanting to create something that lasts.
So as we finish our deep dive into the pyramids, let's remember not just how impressive they are, but also the human spirit that made them possible.
To the people who carved those stones, who came up with the designs, who believed in something bigger than themselves.
The pyramids show what humans can do. Even with huge challenges, we can achieve amazing things.
And that's a legacy worth remembering. As we explore the past and look to the future, let's keep that in mind.
Well said. That's all the time we have for today, but don't let the exploration stop here. There's a whole world of information out there waiting for you to discover it.
Exactly. Books, documentaries, you can even take virtual tours of the pyramids. And of course, if you ever get the chance to visit them in person, well, there's really nothing quite like it.
It's a truly awe-inspiring experience. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.